Hey everybody. Um Another impromptu video. It's still the same day, March 17th, 2025. I just wanted to make you guys aware of something that happened. Plus, I figure this is a good way for me to document it and to have other people to be able to attest to what I'm going to share with you guys. But if you recall, I did a live earlier this afternoon titled I'm Outside with my son at a park that we visited today for the first time. Um, the area was an area that we've never been to before. So, again, don't know anyone out there, don't know the area like that or whatever. But I did notice um, like a heavy it was like police, I guess, like little camera stations out there. So I don't know if that's like a popular area for like drug activity or whatever. Again, have no idea. I just put in Google to the nearest park from where my son and I were originally at, which was we stopped at Sam's Club to get some gas, and then I just literally keyed in whatever nearest park from there, and that was the park that came up. So that's where we went. I'm also stating that because, again, I don't know what's going on or what happens in the neighborhood, but in case something comes out down the line like, oh, I was trying to do something illegal. I definitely was not. I'd never been out there. I literally was just out there so my son and I could walk around and stretch our legs and he could get some playtime in. That's it. That's all. So shortly after we left there, we went to the main public library in our area, which we've been to a couple of times before. Um, Everything seemingly fine. It was pretty quiet because I guess regular school kids haven't gotten out of school yet. And he and I were pretty much the only ones that I could see in the children's area. And I sat myself by the libraries, like it has like really big windows, and I sat myself there because I actually parked my vehicle where I could be able to see my car. And shortly after I've been sitting there, I noticed a man in like a pale turquoise shirt or seafoam green or whatever it is. And I think it was like khaki shorts, if I'm correct. Caucasian male. I want to say he's maybe like 5'5", 5'7". He wasn't that tall. Walking past the window, not immediately, but in my peripheral, I saw him. And then when I noticed him, I turned and I looked at him, which I'm glad I did now because that man ended up like standing behind my vehicle. He positioned himself behind the right side of my vehicle for quite some time. And I started filming when I noticed like I could see in the distance because again it's the parking lot, but I could still see like two legs standing behind my vehicle. And I did film two different times. Again, it's not great footage, but if the right individual was able to get the footage and enhance it, they could definitely see what I saw, which was just two legs standing behind the vehicle. So I didn't get his face. I wanted to get his face. I was trying to see whenever he would walk back by because I'm guessing he parked down from me, away from my vehicle. But there was a SUV, like a grayish SUV that parked in the adjacent spot, like, so not directly behind me, but the spot beside that, and was there with him for quite some time. And then eventually they drove off. From what I noticed, I didn't get this on film, but this is what I noticed when I was just sitting there watching. And then there was a white sedan vehicle. The three beginning letters of that tag was SJA. It was an older vehicle. I want to say like maybe an older Nissan or Saturn or something. Like I'm never like really good with car models, but I definitely remember it was white and that it was a sedan. And they too went parked over there briefly in that area by my car where the man was still standing behind my vehicle. And Then eventually, I guess because they had looped around and then they came and parked close to where they were. From what I could see, they didn't get out their vehicle, but I'm guessing they must have been talking to the man or something, maybe. I don't know. Then there was a third vehicle, a black, like, again, I want to say maybe a Nissan, maybe a Honda. I'm not sure as far as the make and model, but it was a younger Hispanic male. He had black hair, he had on a black shirt, and I believe blue jeans. And he looked like he got out. He was standing beside the man, and then like when I looked over, I saw him like leaning, like I guess trying to see where I was, or not see where I was, excuse me, because there's no way he could see me from the library window, because the windows, I think they have that like two-way mirror, film. And but I'm guessing someone must have alerted him, and I say that because when I noticed that, I looked behind me, which would mean I was looking down the library like main corridor, and I noticed that there was a man wearing a black shirt with a bald head, Caucasian male as well, staring directly at me. So I'm not sure if he was supposed to be their eyes on me, so to speak. And I believe that he may have been their eyes, and the reason I say that is because the people in the black vehicle, I guess, in that short brief moment that I looked away, they must have gotten their vehicle and then pulled off. But the man with the seafoam green shirt, still I could see his two legs behind my vehicle. So I don't know if they were telling him like, hey, don't move. She sees you. She knows you're there, blah, 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 blah. But what they don't know is I had already seen him 100%, and if I would have known he was going to do what he did, or being that close to my vehicle, I would have filmed him in that moment. But again, I'm just thinking he's a normal, just like everybody else, a library patron coming to the library. And, but again, creepers going to be creepers, I guess. But I tried to wait around a little longer to see if he would finally like come back from around my vehicle so I could get him with camera, but he didn't. But I figured that as soon as I would get up to leave, that magically they'd be gone. And sure enough, I was correct. As soon as we made it out of the library and to the vehicle, there were no immediate cars around me, which when we arrived, there were no immediate cars parked beside me or around me either. It was pretty empty, with the exception of like some bigger vans, like I guess people sleeping in their cars or whatever. I don't know. I do know that there was a blue van immediate like down from me, but they left. I saw when they left, shortly after I got there. And then there was a white van that was parked two lanes in front of me, but to the right of me. And it was a Caucasian male. He was, cause it was like a Sprinter van, and it was a white van, and he was sitting in the driver's seat, just seemingly, doing regular people stuff, I'm assuming. But why I started recording him is because I noticed that he brought his phone up as soon as me and my son got to our car. And once we came out of the library, I went immediately to the back of my car, opened my trunk, and moved some things around. And I was just trying to see if I noticed anything immediately in that moment, but I didn't see anything. For my safety, I started filming on my phone. I already have dash cams in my vehicle that, unless it's been tampered with, it should have caught it. I still have to check the footage on that. So hopefully I'll have it. Him just, being that close to my vehicle, because the way that I have my dash cam set up is that they're kind of like a Tesla. They can see all sides of my vehicle. So Of course, like with any camera, there's going to be some blind spots. But again, only way for a person to know something like that is if they've actually researched, the type of cam someone has and, what peripherals and all that, the technical stuff. Outside of that, there's no way any regular person would know where and where not to stand and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. But I did end up filming not only with my dash cams, but with my telephone or cell phone on the way home. And of course, I was just, vocalizing how I felt in that moment, telling, these people about themselves out loud, just because I know that I do deal with a lot of electronic tampering. And I know that these people are listening to me or whomever these individuals are or whatever in particular. This is no longer, oh, I think, or I get like, I know, I have so many instances of things happening that, it's too much to be a coincidence. And so, on the way home, I didn't, again, my main concern was just like if something crazy would have happened, I wanted to be able to immediately catch it, like, and catch my child's reaction because it was my 11-year-old with me, at the time. But he was riding in the back seat and, or no, excuse me. Was he? Yeah, he was riding in the back seat on the way home. And I also took the liberty to call my husband, which went to voicemail because he's in school right now. But and I left him a voicemail of what happened and just asking him to keep it on his phone for record purposes. And then I also, like I said, started recording on my phone as well as my other devices that I have, to get down what I captured. Now, like I said, I didn't see any immediate damage or tampering or whatever. Because again, I don't know if it was a situation they were tampering, trying to put something on or take something off. I have no idea. But I'm sharing this with you all, not for, like, oh, like how I was in the past with like the internet tampering stuff, like not even from a sensationalized like standpoint, but to just have more records and documents of, what I'm experiencing. I am currently working on some things that this type of information could potentially help. And I'm just feeling like at this point, the more eyes I can get on this type of stuff, the better, just because it'll be more proof on my end that it happened. Whether anything, whether my vehicle's damaged or not is insignificant in my opinion, because the mere fact that someone was just loitering and hanging around my vehicle is, just not okay. And the library does have, I'm assuming, a female security guard, because when we first arrived, she came out from the back of the library, walking along the side that I had parked on. And then like immediately after my son and I turned the corner out of her sight, or like briefly out of her sight, because I could still see her in my peripheral, I noticed she brought out her phone, to either, I'm assuming, calling or texting someone or whatever. And sure enough, like I said, so I'm not saying she's involved. I'm not accusing her of that. I'm just telling you what I saw. But as soon as I, saw her do that, I just like, kept it in my mental Rolodex, but, kept it pushing. My husband, when my son and I went into the library, again, there was no, commotion or, everybody was just doing their thing, which is how a library should be. And like I said, when I positioned myself by the window, that's when I noticed that, like, shortly after we got in the library, then immediately a car, parked like by us, and then the man came down and all of that I just detailed to you guys. So I mentioned the security guard lady because also she eventually made her way in and made her way down to the children's area where my son and I were, and was talking with the librarian in the children's area. And she had her back positioned to me, which again, nothing, nothing crazy about that or whatever. But now looking at it and thinking about what I saw, I'm like, well, she could have been potentially like, giving these people the green light to go ahead and do whatever they're doing, or, or whatever, what have you. I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to say or accuse her, because I don't know that to be true. I'm just telling you what I observed. Shortly after we got to the vehicle, then here she comes again, popping out, coming out the side that my son and I, first, or that I first saw her when we first arrived there. And then it just kind of seemed like, certain vehicles that were coming in, and certain random people were just like randomly walking past me and stuff like that. And you'd have to see the parking lot, but where I was parked, like there was a lady with white hair and a black like sweater, just randomly just walking in the middle of the road, like the roadway where the cars come into the library. But she had her back turned towards me, looking in the other direction. But I had already previously seen her also go to her car already, when I was sitting at the library window, and I could have sworn she had left, but I guess not, because like I said, as soon as I came out, there she was. And I just kept noticing that, like, the cars that were coming into the library as I was getting ready to leave, like, people are, driving is so close that I could see their faces, as they're pulling in, and they're like looking at me, and like, I don't know, it's just like an energy you get. You just know, like, people are looking at you. I've always had that, but again, I've tuned it out a lot, because I'm like, they looking, whatever, cool. But it almost gave me the vibes like they are waiting on something to happen. You get what I'm saying? And I go back to the man in the Sprinter van, because like I said, he started filming me and my son, and that's what also made me like suspicious. Like, okay, why is he filming me now? Like, all of a sudden, like, did these people, place some, explosive or some ish on my car? Like, what is going on that all of a sudden everybody's stopping and watching, waiting for me to leave or whatever? Which I mean, I'm used to that energy out here, people waiting for me to leave because they're uncomfortable, I guess, because I have cameras on my car and that they know, I'm assuming some of them know that I'm a YouTuber, even though I do not wear that I'm a YouTuber on my sleeve, like, at all. When I go out in public, I am just Ashley. I'm just regular degular me. I'm not a YouTuber that's out here trying to, garner extra attention and all that. That's totally not me at all, because at the end of the day, I have a family, and I have a child, and I have a young adult now, or 18-year-old, I should say. And they are important to me, and their safety is the utmost importance to me. So I would never put myself or my children in a position where I feel like I'd be putting us in an unsafe position intentionally, like, absolutely not. So the thing that I noticed most of the individuals that I saw, most of them were late middle age. Of course, like, some of them had gray hair, some of them had no hair. The only, I say, young individual was the Hispanic male that I saw. Excuse me. He had black hair. But outside of that, I didn't see anything crazy. I did notice kind of like a heightened surveillance also when we were at the park that we were at. There were a couple of Parks and Rec trucks, which again, it's a park. So yes, I know they're going to be there or whatever, but it was the fact that they were like riding around the area, and they just kept circling around and circling around. And like I said, the young man that I encountered when I was out there, had asked me what, have I been in the area long? Am I new to the area? Yada, yada, yada. And I told him, I said, no, I'm fairly new, to the area. I'm still learning stuff. Most of the time, I don't know where I'm going outside of the regular places that I go, which is primarily just grocery shopping. Like, I really haven't been out exploring my immediate area as much. as I, probably should, so I can be more familiar with where the frick stuff is and where I'm at. But and or just knowing like the elements of certain environments, and I don't want to be unsuspectingly putting, myself or my children in any type of harm's way. So with that being said, I'm, making this video, not necessarily like looking for support or anything like that. I just, want to have this documented so that if anything does happen to my vehicle or whatever in the next coming days, I have multiple video evidence and proof. Again, may not be top notch, but it's there. And also my account. And I've also stated that if anything does come up, that I could just easily go back to the library and ask them, to play the footage and or call the police and see if they can get them to play the footage from that day and around that time. And I know the man in the white Sprinter van, he was there the whole time. So technically he was positioned in a way that he would have seen everything that happened, around my vehicle, or at least from his perspective. Again, I don't know if he was in on it. I'm not saying he was in on it. I'm just telling you what I observed as far as him starting to, like holding his camera up like he was recording me and my son, which again, doesn't bother me in that sense. I just started wondering if him recording me was like related to what was going on around my vehicle. I'm not, I'm not upset. I'm not mad or anything like that. I just, like I said in my car ride home, when I was, verbally just detailing everything that happened, just like I said, telling people about themselves, because I'm at a point now I can't hold water for Ish. Like I gotta, if something's on my mind or something's about, I just gotta get it out and I just gotta say it, and that's gonna be that. And I'm still happy. I'm still calm as cucumber. And there's some other stuff I hadn't even told you guys, but like over the weekend, as a matter of fact, to and from, or not to and from, but to or coming back from, IKEA, the long like 2 hour plus drive that I did by myself, I had two individuals try to like run me off the road. And this was what, March 15th? Yeah, it was March 15th. So no, not Friday, excuse me. It was the Saturday. So 14, 15. Yeah, 15th. And when I was leaving, I was on the interstate. A car was in the lane next to me and immediately just started just merging over. And here I am just, getting down the road and they're just merging over. And excuse me, so much so that I had to hold on my horn to make them aware that like, hey, I'm here. Like, you can't just like force someone out their own lane. That's not how that works. You either have to speed up and go around them or slow down and go behind them. But they literally just kept merging over, where, like I said, I had to hold on the horn and I just, decided to slow down so that they could pass. But I held on the horn the whole time because I'm like, yeah, I'm right here. You can't just do that. And then the second occurrence was I was on a back road coming home, which there's a lot of those here in Arizona where I'm at. And it was just me and this one other car. This other car was behind me pretty much the whole time I was on that back road, just me and that other car, which I thought was odd and weird because based on where the area is, there's like a national monument land back there, BLM land. And from my couple of visits back there before, it's always like traffic coming and going. But the fact that there was only traffic going and there was none coming, or coming and none going, like, behind myself in that other vehicle, which was like some older model, like broke down Saturn. And it had like the weirdest grill. It had like this angular, like toe, I don't want to say toe hitch, but like a metal, like it went up like in a point shape. I'm not sure if there was like a camera in the middle of it because I couldn't make any of that out. But I just thought that the vehicle in and of itself was an odd looking vehicle. And but it stayed behind me the whole time. And it was one of those roads where, you can only pass when it tells you to pass. So this person, could have gotten from behind me at any point in time, considering that it was just me and that other vehicle. There were no other vehicles on our side of the road the whole way out. And it got to a point where there were cars coming as we're going, and a car merged over into our lane. I assumed that they were just trying to get over so that they could pass the other cars that were on their side, which is what they did. But it's like they deliberately waited to the last moment, where they and I were like almost so close where we would have ended up having a head-on collision with him or with that person being on the wrong side of the road. And then immediately they decided to veer back into the respective lane. And like I said, the car behind me never slowed down, never stopped. So it's like I felt like it was an intentional thing, because if I would have slammed on brakes, they would have hit me in the rear with the way that thing or whatever is angled on their vehicle. But since I didn't stop and I didn't veer, I didn't swerve, I just kept going straight, because in my mind, I'm like, I'm in the right, like I'm going the right direction. I'm not shaken by your antics at all. Like I was unfazed, because I'm like, well, if this is if this is it, this is it. And all I could think was, it's just crazy to me how people are willing to, literally try to take people out of here for what? Like it doesn't make sense to me. But as I've stated multiple times over, I'm not afraid to punch in my check, if you get what I mean when I say that. Death doesn't scare me at all. Because when you know what I know, you know that it's not the end. So they'll just be blessing me to go to a better realm, which is what I want anyway. But I'm not snoo-a-snidle. I'm not none of that. Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm not afraid of that. So they were playing a big old game of chicken that they would have ended up losing, because it was like one of those like wannabe little sports car joints, and I was in my husband's truck. So yeah, you can determine who would have won that battle. Just saying. And then with the little Saturn behind me, like, again, I'm in a truck. Y'all two are in sedans. Truck and sedan is not the same. It's not the same. So anyway, even despite all that, after me filming what I filmed at IKEA for you guys, it should just go to prove to you and go to show that, shoot, in some way, shape, or form, I'm putting life and limb on the line to just continue to, be authentic and be myself, and continue to try my best to encourage you guys too, because I recognize I'm not the first person to probably experience some things like this, and I know that I won't be the last. And I know there's probably people out there going through the exact same right now. And so I hope that I can be just a testament, that, hey, you can get through it despite what these people are trying to do, want to do, what have you. Like, it's not going to change anything. I'm not going to stop speaking up about what I'm experiencing. I'm going to continue to do my part, because I want justice not only for me, but I want justice for all of those of us who are experiencing this type of stuff. Even if it isn't worldly justice, because I used to let that be my hang up, like, oh, well, there's no point, because, these are, the devil spawn, and we know how the world treat their own. They magically can do all manner of evil and never see any real consequence for their actions. But that was a defeatist mindset that I had to completely unpack and put that out of my mind, because I'm like, regardless, even if it is the truth, there are systems, laws, courts, governments, stuff like that in place for a reason. And, do I have much hope or faith? No, but I'm hoping that by being yet another individual who's experiencing stuff coming forward and saying, hey, this stuff is really happening, it'll help be able to shine some more light on it. Because I've even considered taking this to the news stations at this point. Like, maybe that's something we all can do collectively, those of us who are experiencing the similar type of stuff that I'm experiencing. Like, maybe we all should get together and just compile all of the stuff that we have and take it to a news station and just see what happens. I mean, again, I'm not holding my breath, but it's better than doing nothing. It's better than, or not better than doing nothing, but it's better than just not, or just having a defeatist mindset about it. Because I'm not a quitter. I might take long breaks, but I'm not a quitter. When I have my heart and my mind set on something, I am a very determined individual. And in this case, like I said, it's more so about keeping my family safe. Cause like I said, this is just me and my son out and about, like, which again, it should just goes to show you the type of like, indignant individuals that I'm dealing with, that they don't even care that I am with my child. And so, which is fine, because at the end of the day, then that means I don't owe them the same respect and the same, courtesy, which I don't. I haven't been feeling that way for quite some time. Now, the difference between them and them and myself is that I'm not going to go out of my way to just be nasty to a child for no reason, because that's not who I am. But at the end of the day, like, whatever happens, if something happens, hey, that's what happens. Like, that's not going to be on my conscience. Not at all. I just hate that, some of these people's children are being put in those positions to be abused like that, because it's abuse. I don't care how people want to shake it. Oh, you're standing up to a bully. I'm not a bully. I don't even know any of these people. I don't know anybody out here, period. So my thing is, how could I or my children bully anyone? We all pretty much stay to ourselves. My sons ain't out there playing with other people's kids. Like, there's really not a lot of kids his age out here that he wants to play with anyway. Because I mean, he pretty much tends to get along with much older kids, or much older, like teens and stuff like that. He's just somewhat mature for his age, at least from the social standpoint. But I think that I'm going to continue to, like I said earlier in the earlier video, I'm going to continue, maybe not every day, because I definitely don't see myself getting out here every day trying to do stuff like this, but I definitely am going to continue to push myself out of my comfort zones. Again, just being a little more, not courteous, but being a little more aware of the areas that I'm going to, and maybe even like pre-vetting them. And if they look a little skivvy, then just moving along. But the park, like I said, that we went to looked nice. It had adequate equipment, which is, what my son really wanted to be around and play around. And he deserves that. He's a kid. Like, but yeah, I'm on here because I just really want to make sure this is documented. I don't want to forget anything. I think I detailed just about everything. I did, like I said, when I did come home, I did inspect my vehicle with my own eyes, and of course my filming and stuff like that. But like I said, I didn't see anything that looked out of place, or I didn't see anything that looked suspicious or whatever. But again, I'm just me. I'm at the point now, I feel like I'm just gonna have to take my car to a professional and have them, check it over and make sure it's, safe and all that jazz. Cause I really don't know what else to do. I know I mentioned when I was filming, I'm like, if they do end up destroying that vehicle, I'm like, baby, it wouldn't bother me nothing at all, for the sole fact that, I suspect that these, not these same people, but I suspect that these people that run in this organization tamper with my husband's little Scion that he had before he got his truck when we moved out here, because it was working fine. Like, he never had any issues out of it. And then just like shortly after we moved here, then all of a sudden, he was coming back home. And it just, as soon as he hit like entering into Arizona, then it just broke down out of nowhere. And I'm like, yeah, that's weird. Even though the engine was still running, still cranked up, all of that, it just stopped. Granted, it was a much older vehicle. It was a 06. So we've had that bad boy since 2012, or we had that bad boy since 2012. And it was an older vehicle. And I don't know, it was just a lot about that instance that just never sat right with me. And that, again, is a story in and of itself. Needless to say, I had to go and get him, and just the fanfare that we experienced when we were trying to get that done, it was a mess. But I never, documented or filmed it because, again, it was unexpected. But ever since stuff like that, I had already been like in this mindset that these people are possibly messing with our cars and stuff like that, because anytime we would go out in public, where we would park, I noticed that people would try to immediately like bunch us in and, parking super close to us. Like, yeah, they did that to me at IKEA this weekend too. Parking like super duper close. Like, I was on the driver's line because I was trying to give the car to my right space to be able to get into their driver's side of the vehicle. But there was a white truck that decided to back in and park in a way where it gave me like maybe 4 to 5 inches of space. And I'm assuming that, whomever did that may have thought that I wouldn't be able to, get in the truck because of my, curvaceous body. But I was able to get right on in with no problem. Nothing happened. Like, I didn't end up hitting their car or nothing. Like, I was just able to get in my truck, or my husband's truck, and just keep on going. So it's like, and I don't know, like stuff like that, it doesn't really bother me. Like, it is what it is. That's what I said. I'm at this point where I feel like these individuals have literally tried just about everything that they know that they can try without, blatantly just committing a crime. Which, I mean, some of this stuff is criminal, if I'm being completely honest. But again, it's that whole no face, no case, I guess. And if no one saw it, then is it a crime? But I don't know what it is that they expect from me, because I keep saying it over and over and over. Like, this, everything about all of this should just prove my resiliency. Like, everything that they've thrown at me and my family, we continue to just eat it up and turn it into greatness. Like, and it's not stopped us from being able to do anything that we've wanted to do. Like, everything we want to do, we're still being able to do. When we want to go out, we go out. When we want to be at home, we want to be at home. Because, I love to say that the harassment stops when I'm at home, but no, not even when I'm at home. I deal with a lot of noise campaigns, a lot of like racing cars, and a lot of speeding, a lot of people with like loud vehicles and stuff like that. A lot of suspicious like white vans and blacked out SUVs and stuff like that, positioning themselves like on my street where they're like looking, where it's like directed at my home, and it's like, yeah, I've noticed all of this stuff, but I just don't care. Like, I don't care anymore. That's what I said, like with the noise, that doesn't bother me at all, surprisingly. Like, I thought it would bother me, but it doesn't. All I be thinking is like, dang, like, I wonder how the neighbors feel, like to hear people revving up and zooming and zipping. And I mean, they were doing it last night. Like, it's crazy. I'm like, people got babies out here, not me, but I've seen people out here with like toddlers and babies and stuff and dogs, because the dogs go crazy every time they do stuff like that. But I guess we just live in a lawless town. Because, and what's sad is that there's actually police officers that live in my development. Like, they live down the street from me. And I guess they must just hear all this and just, or maybe these people know their schedules and choose to do all that stuff when they're not home, maybe. But considering the fact that it be happening like in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning, 12 at night, I'm sure those officers trying to sleep at some point in time. Like, you can't tell me. And then what's terrible is that a lot of the times these people like to use like the street behind my house, I guess, is like a racetrack. And people be back there like crashing into people's like brick walls and stuff. Like, it's crazy. It's like total like chaos back here with the racing and the all that stuff. Like, I don't get it, me personally. If you're that, gung ho to die, and just, I probably shouldn't have said that, but if that's how they want to, leave this earth, then by all means. I done seen accidents up close. That stuff is not pretty. So I feel like I'm rambling now, but yeah, the sole purpose was to just be able to document this experience. If you guys, for those of you who might be in the work sector, who have any tips, any lawyers, any, body that is crusading to help, TIs like in this type of stuff, feel free to put it in the comment section, because I feel like with what we got going on, I'm going to need every trick out of my bag that I can pull. And I say that just because that the number of individuals I'm up against are massive. And I think that's what makes everything about gang stalking so challenging, is that you're always dealing with different individuals, with the exception of, the few that are probably assigned to you, the handlers, if you will, that, are probably the ones lurking in the shadows and, puppeteering everyone else, to go do their bidding. But those are the type of ones that, you probably wouldn't know it because they're behind the curtain. So you wouldn't know. So I think that's what makes it really challenging, especially in this position, to really get justice. But again, the more we talk about it, the more we acknowledge it, the more we shed light on it, the better the chances that something will finally get done about it. I'm not, like I said, I just want justice at this point, and I want my peace. And if a check come along with that, I'll take that too. Like, I'm not picky, because there gotta be some type of recourse for this type of behavior. And you can't tell me that nobody's seen nothing. And I know there's an air of people talking about no snitching and all this stuff. Like, baby, it's 2025. I don't care about none of that. I've never cared about any of that. I think it's the dumbest thing ever. You're willing to suffer all because you don't want to tell the truth. Like, and what's crazy is that these will be like people proclaiming to be religious, acting like that. And I'm like, but you think God is turning a blind eye to, like I said, I can't make sense of some of these people's logic. But I'm a person, I deal in truth. So the no snitching thing wouldn't work for me, because at the end of the day, if I know something, I'm gonna say it. Like, especially if I know it can help something or someone's case or whatever, I'm gonna say it. Like, I'm not gonna hold my tongue on that. And if that makes me the bad guy, then that's fine. I will always stand for truth, because it's interesting to me how the no snitching thing is a thing, but then when it turns around and it's your stuff, then you hoping and wishing somebody come forward and would say something. And so it's like, yeah, it's a very flawed motto, or like, what's the word? Not motto, but way of life. Like it's very flawed. I get it. It's like I get it, but I don't get it. Because like I said, I'm not afraid of pain. Like, baby, my whole life has been pain. Bring it. At the end of the day, like, no, like if you're doing wrong, you're doing wrong, and you deserve to be held accountable for it, because that's what we're told. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. Unless you belong to, you belong to other class of folks like myself and other folks like that. But I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. Thank you for listening. Again, if you guys got any connections to help, or we can all start working together a little better to put together connections so that we can all help each other, I'm okay with that too. I can share what I know, at least, from my standpoint, because I've never been in this position before to have to ask for, legal advice and all that. But I feel like I'm there now where that's going to be one of my next steps, is to go ahead and just get some proper legal counsel that I can talk to about all of this stuff and, see what they say and go from there. But until next time, I hope everybody's well. I hope that your week is going good. And if it isn't, I hope it gets better. Yeah, see ya.